Okay, hello, professor and classmates. Today, we are going to present the second discussion group. In this case, we are going to work with, the team that we are going to discuss, making this discussion group are Ruth, Alex, and Pepe. Okay, so this is the readings for the discussion. The first one is Young EFL students' engagements with English outside the classrooms and strategic management of ELT in public educational systems. So let's start with the questions and also with the discussion. The first question for this discussion group is, do you think parents or tutors can influence students' use of English outside the classroom? How? Who wants to be the first one to answer? I think.
I will do it.
Okay.
I think, yeah, parents and tutors can influence, because, for example, if they don't have they don't try to make their children to learn the language, or if they tell them like English is not useful or you don't need it, the student create a thinking that I don't need English. English is just clase de relleno, and that's it. So the tutors or parents must try to make the children to learn the language, or motivate to learn the language.
Yes, I think that it's very important that parents or tutors in this case be aware about the learning language of their kids, because I think that the kids only learn or only have a one class in the school, and when they wait when they finish, they don't talk a lot about the take a lot. Después no hablan otra vez del idioma, so they could forget it, and the parents could be a really good help to remember the kids need to keep learning the language. So yes. Somebody else have a comment about?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is important to the idea that have the parents about the language. If the parents think that it is important for them to learn the language, I don't know, for status or economical reasons, they will influence or encourage their sons to they will motivate them to have to keep to have a lot of I don't know, a different idea about the language. If they exposed to videos, music, and other stuff, games, they can have a very good influence.
Yes, that's right, Pepe. I think that you said a very important word. I think it's a key word for this, that the parents need to be like a motivator. So this will be the word that we can use in this case. There's a motivator. They need to keep their child motivated to learn language. That's right. Okay, so now let's move on with the second question. So, have you ever asked your student if they use English outside the class? If yes, how do they practice the language? Ruth, do you have a comment?
Yes, yes, I have asked my students if they use a language outside the classroom. Not all of them use it, but when I ask them how, many of them really like to play video games online. So many times the people they are playing with are from other countries. So for them, it's like a time to practice because they are like, I want to understand what they're telling me. So they sometimes talk to them, maybe sometimes it's not the best environment because there's older people there and the kind of vocabulary they're using is not like so family friendly. So they are also learning like the bad words and everything, but they do practice. Some of them actually, and they also like movies or music in English. So that's the way that they also use like the language outside the classroom.
Okay, that's interesting point. I think that the context it's important for in this case for the students because maybe it could be have to see with the hobbies that the students have, maybe listen music or watch series, etc. So the context could be really useful that the students keep learning English outside the class. So yes, that's right, very important. Thank you, Ruth. Another comment, Alex.
I have asked my students. I asked them on Thursday, I think, just Thursday, and I asked them if they use the language or if they think um they can use the language when they are not in class with me. And some of them told me like, yeah, because I like Taylor Swift and I like yes, I think, and in other groups, English groups, and they were saying like, oh yeah, I tried to learn the music, the lyrics, and or sometimes I watch a movie, not all the time, but sometimes. And some of them told me like, no, so I don't use English when I'm here in the class, and I don't use it outside the class because they don't like the class, they don't like the language, they don't care about the learning English. So I think yeah, it's like a percentage that says yes, and some of them they don't care. That's the thing. In Mexico, they don't care. They think learning English is just like another class, and that's it.
Yeah, as you mentioned here in Mexico, it's pretty as a teacher, it's pretty difficult keep learning interest keep the students interest about the English. Maybe as you say, it's la clase barco. It's like nah, I don't care about. And if they don't use the English inside the classroom, outside the classroom will be impossible. So yes, it's more difficult when you mention that, and it could be a 50-50. Maybe one of them, yes, you use usually classroom, but this kind of factors that you mentioned that don't care, it could be more difficult using outside the classroom. So yes, thank you, Alex. And let's see, let's move on with the third question. uh, do you implement strategies in your classroom to encourage student participation and engagement to promote the use of English outside the classroom? I want to comment something in this question about my students. The last week I tried to do activity using music, but this was for homework, and I we are reviewing the tenses. So I give to them as a homework that they need to listen to music, and I provide to them a list with songs, and also they need to use they need to listen to music, and then they need to recognize maybe one of the themes that we are reviewing in class. And I think there could be a good strategy because I am using the music, and the music it could be something interesting for them. So this, and then when I am coming in class, what they thinking about the homework? They say me that they like it because they are singing music, but they are listening music, and also they are doing homework and practice English. So that could be. Well, I did it, and it was it works for me. I don't know what about you.
Yeah, I always tell them that everything that they can do in Spanish, they can do it in English. So for example, movies, series, video games, music, whatever, I'm always like, you can also do it in English. So I recommend them even like, for example, YouTube channels about crime, because some of them really like crime videos. And I watch one that is really interesting the girl has like a really good pace to talk. It's very understandable. And I tell them that you can turn on the subtitles in English, so you can like if you feel lost or something, or maybe you don't recognize a voice, I mean a word, you can understand it a little bit better. And I always like trying to put music in English in the classroom, so they like sometimes they ask me like, "What is that song?" So like trying to make them feel a little bit more interested in the English language.
Yeah, and I think the music is a really good tool because the music it's fun, right? And one of maybe several students have this interest of this le gustan la música en inglés, so it's more interesting for them and they want to keep learning even it's out the classroom. So that would be a really good tool. Yes, thank you, Ruth. What about you, Pepe?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's really difficult to find some strategies outside of the classroom, but I think the most important thing is to know the interest of our students. So for example, 2 weeks ago, we create a memory game using irregular verbs. And then I let them know they can create any kind of cards for their memory games using, I don't know, information about their movie series or movies or singers or whatever. And they can play at home. In that case, they can still practicing this, but related to something that they like them a lot. And obviously, watch movies in English, listening to music in English, but do not try to force to use the strategies from the book because it's not authentic, it's not related to something that they like. So I think they, as teachers, we need to provide just well the resources like okay, you can visit this website or use this game, but related to something that they like.
Yes, also we can adapt the authentic materials to the needs for the students because this is very important. As a teacher, we need to have very identify what are the needs of the students, and with that we are going to know uh, what kind of material or what kind of activities we can give to them. So yeah, that's very important. And also I like the memory game because it's almost además like the students keep practicing English outside the classroom. It's very interactive the game because maybe they can play with another kid in the house, and also another kid or another person can learn English too. So that's very interactive and I like it. Thank you so much, Pepe. Okay, so let's move on with the question 4. That is, what do you consider to be obstacles that public education systems often face in improving the strategic management of English language teaching? Alex, maybe do you have a comment?
Well, an obstacle for public education in related to learning or teaching English is that well, I think it's because Mexicans they don't we I don't know they because I like but they don't like the language, they don't care, they think like why should I learn English if I live in a country that speaks Spanish, or they don't find the importance of learning a language, a foreign language. And yeah, so I think that's one of the main points or the obstacles for the public educational system. And also the lack of interest of learning. And as I mentioned before, like they say, my students have told me, this is una clase de relleno nada más, it's like I have to take the class, and yeah, and also well, the students' attitudes, like, they don't care, they don't practice, they don't use the language, and yeah, I think those are the obstacles for the public educational system.
Yeah, that's a little bit sad because the attitude of the students even could be unmotivated for the teacher. Like, I have my material, I have my activity for you, and I want that you learn. But if as a teacher you see that it's like, no, I don't care, no, I no quiero, qué flojera, or they're like, I don't understand nothing. It's like, but you can even ni siquiera ellos try to understand. It's like, nah, I don't care. So this is, it could be unmotivated as a teacher, and this will be also obstacles for keep learning. Yeah. Ruth.
Yes, I wanted to comment that actually it's pretty sad that the government doesn't give us like we don't care. For them, we are not important. That's the reality. Even though I'm not in a public school, I work in a private. We are in the SEP, so it is really like sad to see all of the importance, all of the support, and many things go to Spanish and math, and sometimes science. Like those three are the biggest or the most important subjects of them all. And also you can notice this because they don't care about the lack of teachers. Like I don't know if you I'm like thinking about sharing this. We got an email, I don't know if you saw it, about a parent asking for help to the university so they can send and two English teachers to do professional service because the school doesn't have money to pay them because they've been 2 years without an English teacher for an elementary school. In my own experience, one of my cousins, he didn't have an English teacher. Sometimes they even spend months without an English teacher. So you can see that government doesn't care about the English programs. Like they don't even care about if they have the schools have enough teachers, even though there are English teachers that need to work. So how can you tell me that there's spaces, there are plazas, and there are also available teachers, but you don't put them to work? So we can see that it's really sad how government doesn't care about us.
Yeah. it- Now that you mentioned that, it's very sad because the English program don't receive any support. And as you mentioned, we don't have teachers. Always is a lack of teachers because in the high school, I work in one high school, and I think there are three English teachers, and it's like, okay, I can help you as a teacher. Even I don't want to pay, but I can work here. And it's like, no, we cannot contract you. We cannot hiring you because we don't have the paper. You don't have the title. It's like, my God, really, really. But it's okay if you don't want to. I can make any more. But it's everything for the government and for any support that we the programs English receive. That's so sad. Yes. Thank you so much for mentioning that, Ruth. It's very important. Thank you. Okay, let's move on now with the last question that says, even though English in Mexico can be taught since kindergarten, Muslim students who reach institutions of higher education have a beginner level of English. What do you think English teaching in Mexico is so unsuccessful? This could be like, I think that it can have to see with the comment of Ruth. So Ruth, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, just like to compliment my own comment on the previous question. Also like the sequence. We don't have a sequence. Like every year, every different level you're going through, you always learn the same. Like it's always the same. You cannot see like an improvement, nothing, because at least right now I'm working in secondary and high school, and basically you have to teach the same thing from both levels. So how are they going to improve if
No.
I'm still teaching again verb to be? Because that's what appears like in the program. And it's like really hard, like the students even feel demotivated when they have a higher level sometimes and they come to a new level and they are always learning the same. So we also already motivated those students who want to learn more, because the English programs are the same. And even they ask us like really bad things that are not contextualized, the lack of good materials for us. So that's what I think is so unsuccessful. And when us teachers that we are having like the credentials and everything to teach, we're not allowed to do our own strategies and methods because that's against what the government asks us.
Yeah.
So we're never going to improve.
Yes, actually, now that you comment, I think that this problem it's one problem that I'm facing right now in my group because I have 8 kids, and and they have a really high level in English. Uh, uh, everyone talks in English, can understand English, write English. So they have a good level, but I need to teach them verb to be, and it's like I don't know why, but I have the program and I need to follow it, and it's like I think it's more for them because they already know what is the verb to be and all the forms, and but I need to review. So like how am I going to be how am I going to be improving it? I'm actually if the learners um they are student the same. So yes, there's one really big problem. Someone else have a question? Sorry, have a comment about
Yes.
Pepe?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the Ruth's comment. Well, it is the limited resources, I think, and they don't care about the government. They don't care about us. And I used to teach in public institutions, and um, we don't have books. We don't have enough books. We don't have enough material when we have material. And you have to find your own or use your own resources, your own computer, your own speaker, and it's really difficult. And the payment is terrible, obviously. We don't have a sequence, and students don't care about English. So we have unmotivated students and unmotivated government. So yes, basically that.
So
Even
yes.
when we have the credentials, to be English teachers, but apparently they don't need us.
Yes. Yeah, the problem is the government. We don't have the support for it, and it's sad. But as a teacher, we try to do that lo que tenemos en nuestras manos as our possibilities, and that's it. But this is the most big problem. The bigger problem here in the programs English. So yes. Okay, so now let's move on now with the conclusion. And it is a still challenge for us as teachers to improve English teaching in Mexico, not only because of the lack of interest from the students, but also because the government needs to make a change, as I mentioned, as I mentioned. We conclude that even if it is difficult as teachers, we need to try to make the difference and show students how the advantage of learning English at the school can have. Make them realize that many of the activities they do in their spare time can also be done in English and can help to them and help them to improve their knowledge besides even meeting new people and learning more about other cultures. And yes, then that will be our conclusion and also our reference. So that will be our second discussion group, and thank you so much for watching.